We're here today to continue our discussion about infrastructure. We had a good hearing last week, and I think got a lot of good insight. Today's look is a little bit different. We're going to be focusing on infrastructure that is beneficial to our federal lands, to our waters, and to the people and the communities that rely on them. Infrastructure in this context means everything from trails for hikers and bikers to sawmills and biomass facilities to process timber and slash from overgrown, fire-prone federal forests. It also means water projects to control floods, deliver water to communities, and store water to protect against drought, something that, of course, is on all of our minds here in the midst of Water Week 2017. It also means mineral development, as federal lands can provide everything from the sand and gravel for roads to the trails as well, but to the rare earths and other metals found in solar panels, electric vehicles, and countless other technologies. And it also means the infrastructure on our federal lands that is critical to the visitor experience, but that our land management agencies have often failed to maintain according to schedule. The sewer and water systems, the roads, the buildings, the trails that all need work and repair. We call it the deferred maintenance backlog, and it is staggering. The National Park Service backlog has now grown to nearly $12 billion. The Forest Service backlog is over $5 billion, and the Bureau of Reclamation has a backlog of over $3 billion in maintenance needs. This is significant, and I don't think that any of us should kid ourselves. The backlog, in order to truly and meaningfully address it, is going to take real dollars to resolve. But whether we're talking about aging infrastructure on federal lands or looking to build something new to respond to a community need or visitor demand, congressional appropriations alone are not going to be enough. So what else do we do? This is where we've asked you to join us this morning. But leveraging private dollars and capacity through public-private partnerships is absolutely necessary in these tough budget times. I think it can be a win-win for both the federal government and our rural regional economies. We should also remember that infrastructure is not just a matter of dollars. It's also about cutting the regulatory red tape that often holds projects back and adds to their costs. We had a great deal of that discussion in last week's hearing, talking about the uncertainty that with certain focus on regulation and overlay and overlap that adds uncertainty to a process and certainly cost to a process as well. So how we might be able to address that, again, is something that I would hope to elicit in today's discussion. But when we talk about the regulatory red tape and those things that do hold projects back and add to the costs, we've seen the need for this in mining, water projects, community-supported forest thinning projects, timber sales, and new recreation uses. Just about, really, everywhere. Everywhere you look is an issue that relates to the regulation. And the takeaway is that navigating the current maze of congressional statutes, federal regulations, administrative directives, executive orders, secretarial memos, and court decisions is a minefield, and it's not necessarily for the faint at heart. We need to do better. I think we owe it to our western and our rural communities and the people who live near and depend on federal lands for their livelihoods to do better. And we need to do better for the next generation so that they too can experience the world-class outdoor recreation system that generations before them have enjoyed. As I said last week, our committee has already begun to address the infrastructure challenges within our jurisdiction through the bipartisan energy bill that Senator Cantwell and I led on last year, as well as our wildfire and forest management discussion draft and other legislation that came from this committee. Know that we will work to build on that through our infrastructure hearings, and when Congress is ready to consider an infrastructure package, our committee will be ready to make a serious contribution to it. This is an important subject. I do thank our witnesses for being here to discuss this with us. I also want to recognize and acknowledge our newest committee member, Senator Strange from the great state of Louisiana has joined the committee.
Alabama.
Alabama. You're sitting at the end there. Yeah. It's that Southern accent. But even though he sits at the end of this broad dais here, he has much to contribute on these matters that are so important in the energy sector and just really for the overall strength of our nation's economy. So it's good to have you as part of the committee.
Thank
We
you. I'm
welcome
honored to
too.
serve with you on the committee.
Fabulous. With that, I will turn to Senator Cantwell for your opening remarks.